Hello, YouTube. This is your girl, Coco929. Let's do lunch with C. So, I'm sorry, y'all. These salt and vinegar chips are the bomb. Um, you know, this quarantine life has exposed a lot of good and a lot of bad. And if you're smart, the bad that it exposed, you will do what's necessary to make the bad way in your favor. In other words, you will step on the bed to become positive. If it's good, if things that exposed has been good, you will do what you need to do to make them great. We should never get in a complacent stage where we're just stuck. We're in the middle. We're not going. We're not moving. We're not, going backwards or forwards. We're just stuck. I don't know if y'all like me or not, but I hate to be stuck. Okay, so I always look and see what I need to work on. And I make a mental note that where I was last year, and I also keep journals at different points in my life. So I make a note where I am, like in 2008. I'm sorry, 2018, and then I reviewed it in 2019. And so from 2019, April 2019, I'll look at that and see if in 2020 I'm any better. Okay, sometimes situations don't go as we plan, so therefore it delays the process or the progress. And you have to be okay with that. And I always say this, that's why God made erasers, so that you can start over again. Erase what happened and rewrite something in that spot, redo it over again. Um, should never, nothing feels like it's final unless it truly is final. Like if you're on your deathbed, and then again, I'm a true believer, and I've seen God work where people were supposed to die and God was like, nope. you know so unless you're taking your last breath, your physical breath, I wouldn't fall for it. Even in the midst of the quarantine, I'm not making this my new normal. I just don't believe in that, but I am existing in this situation. I refuse to just stay stagnant. So there's a lot of marriages that have really been challenged through this quarantine. Mine's is no exception. Y'all know I'm truthful, so I tell you the truth. Because I feel like if we lie or hide something, that how does it help, one, us, and then two, how does it help other people? Because somebody may not be as open as I am or transparent, because I say I'm the new parent, which is transparent, um, as I am to tell you, hey, I went through this, but this. So, my husband, first of all, he's a great man. He loves me. I love him. I didn't mean to make it sound one way, but there's a but in this situation. So, for years, because my husband is a worker, okay? I mean, praise God, because a lot of men don't even want to go to Burger King, you know? So, he's a hard worker. And he's worked so much that around, let me see, I want to say 2017, maybe, me and him had a conversation. And I said, I stopped him. I said, babe, I said, the kids is almost out of the house. They're growing up. I said, and you work so much. Now, I was working too, y'all, but I didn't work like him. I said, you work so much that my fear is when all the kids get grown, or they move on, or whatever the case may be, that me and you'll be two strangers who don't know each other, and that's not good for any marriage. And he was like, nah, babe, it ain't gonna happen to us. It ain't gonna happen to us. This, that, and the other. I'm like, okay. So we revisit this conversation again. When I say I mean me. I told him again, you know, I said, the way you work, I'm forced to be a single wife. That's how I felt. I was forced to be a single wife. Now, don't get me wrong, I know he was working. But you got to understand, when I say my husband worked. Can you say overtime plus second job? Okay? So I felt and I saw that I was no longer connected to him the way I should have been as a wife. Because I got used to now. I'm a true wife. Like even if this marriage don't work, which it is, don't get me wrong, but if this one didn't, I would be married again because I am a wife. You know, and not all women are wives. Don't get that twisted. Some women are just women, but there are some women that they were born to be a wife, and that was me. And that is me. So now I'm fast forwarding. Now we're in this quarantine situation, and we started out when we first started out. We started out having a date night. That was designated. Nothing interrupted that date night. It was our date night. It was us. We started out for years, dedicating a certain time of day to just us. Even if he worked and I worked, we still had that, time that if it wasn't number 30 minutes, it was 30 minutes of how you doing today? How's things going? Are you okay? And stuff like it, just 34 minutes of checking in with your partner. Well, over the years, because me and my husband, as of May 2nd, we'll be married 22 years and we'll be together 25 years. So over the years, sometimes life get in the way and you tend to take each other for granted, okay? And most of the time, men get wrapped up in what they call men stuff and they start neglecting their wives. Not intentionally, but they do, if I can just keep it transparent. So anyway, fast forwarding. So now we're in this quarantine thing, and my husband was off from work. He goes back today, praise Jesus. He was off from work, and now we're, like I told him, we stuck together. He's like, why you look at it like that? I said, because we are. I mean, I feel like, okay. I mean, y'all get what I'm saying. I was forced for years to do different things by myself because of the way my husband worked. Okay. And I'm understanding about that, you know. But I don't care what woman it is. Don't no woman want to always feel like that they're last. That the jobs come before you, and you have to just suck it up, buttercup. After a while, that tends to turn inward, and you be like, if you like me, it took me a couple of years after this I do stuff to even consider myself having a husband. And I'm so serious. I said I do and all that, but I was so independent that it took me a minute to transition up under this submission thing, up under this I'm a wife thing and all that. Okay, it just took a minute. It took me about 2 years. And so with me being how I was, and I finally submitting all the way and all this stuff, which I don't have a problem with submitting, okay? But I finally submit all the way and all this and stuff to end up years later, it's like I'm married, but I'm single again because you can't dedicate any time to us. It was the fact, y'all, that I had to be at work at 8 o'clock on the dot. He didn't get home from work until like Monday through Friday. If he worked Monday through Friday, he didn't get home until 3:30 a.m. And on the weekends, they closed at 5 a.m. so he wouldn't get home till 6. Okay, so and I gotta be at work at 8. Don't wake me up and no 3:30, and I gotta be on the clock at 8. So you see what I'm saying? It kind of like we got into this norm of not spending any time with each other, and except for hi and bye. He always called me on his lunch break. Hey baby, how you doing? And stuff like I'm like hello, but it just wasn't a connection the way that a husband and wife should have a connection. Okay, at that time you could have drove a Mack truck between us, and I would see it, but he wouldn't. Because sometimes in men's minds, as long as the wife is there, everybody's clothed, they got food, got shelter, you okay. And that's basically because my husband's older than me, and that's basically his mentality. His mentality is, well, baby, you have control of the check. You know, all I do is work. I give you the money, and you do what all needs to be done. So what's the problem? You see what I'm saying? So I just want to encourage women and wives to restart again. Make it plain to your spouse how you're feeling. Draw a picture, draw a clue, write a letter, send a text. If the more you say it, the more it gets in their head that this is something they need to fix. Men need to feel like they fix stuff. Okay? So that's what I'm saying. So I just wanted to come on and be transparent about where I'm at with different situations. And, it's okay. It's okay. Everybody's um, relationship or marriage or whatever goes through a up and up and a downswing. And I'm no exception to the rule. You understand? No exception. Um, like I said, a lot of times it's hard for men to hear what we're saying. Like, it goes in, and then somewhere along the line, it gets messed up. I don't know how, but it gets messed up. And then when it's repeated back, it is not even what you said. You like, were you in the conversation? So, you know, and it's one thing to hear, it's another thing to listen. You can't listen if you're already thinking about how you're going to rebuttal what I got to say. And that's marriage critique number 2. You can't rebuttal. You can't be thinking about what you're saying if I'm talking because you're not listening. Just like me, I can't be thinking about what I'm going to say if you're talking because I'm not listening. I'm not hearing you. All that's important to me is what I have to say to you. And a lot of times stuff will be uh, deaded or canceled if we just learn how to listen. Listen, even if, take in what I'm saying, take in what your wife is saying, take in what your spouse is saying, and don't rebuttal. Listen. You might hear something that'll save your marriage because what happens is the more things go on like that, I'm going to tell you, men, women's hearts begin to close. Women, let me tell you about wives. A true wife is a wife no matter if you act a fool or not. A true wife is going to still do what she's supposed to do if you act a fool or not. But I'm going to tell you, her heart closes. After her heart closes, hell trying to get it open. Because if you're blessed to have a wife that actually opens up to tell you what's going on and you still don't listen, that's not her fault. And so what happens is she shuts that part of her down and she just goes through the motions. You still get the wife, you still get the food, you still, whatever the wifely duties are, you still get that. But a lot of men don't see that they've lost the wife's heart. They don't see that. It's like everything's fine because, and it takes another man to say, but bruh, you ain't noticed that her heart ain't tender towards you no more, and things like that. So I'm just saying, I'm just saying, it's best to just be open and transparent. You know what I'm saying? Because my philosophy was this, and this is the truth. No, straight up, no chaser. I always said, if this does not work, it ain't gonna be because of me. Point blank, period. And as long as you can say that, because if I'm, and I'm just talking to marriage, about marriage, period. If I'm telling you that every day when you wear this green shirt, it makes me feel like you robbing me, and you see that I'm responding to this green shirt because of something that happened to me, and you keep wearing this green shirt, even though you know it hurts me, that means you could care less about how I feel. So you can't keep telling me that you love me when you don't make adjustments. Because if I'm wearing a red shirt and you get sick when you wear a red, when you see me wear this red, and you tell me that makes me sick, baby, please don't wear that. I don't wear it around me. And I get up every day and I wear this red shirt, knowing that it affects you, I don't care about you. And y'all know I'm straight up no chaser. That's what that means. So I'm just saying a lot of things will be revealed. It's like what are you gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? What are you gonna do about it? Okay, so now that we know this, what's the next step? Unfortunately, I have a man like a dude. I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately because I think like a man. It's like, okay, we here. Okay, where we go from here? It's not, I just, That's just how I am. I'm sorry. And I know men say a lot of women don't say what's on their mind. They wives beat around the bush, and that is never my stilo. I never mince words. If I say you pissing me off, you pissing me off. If you getting on my nerves, I let you know you getting on my nerves. If something ain't right, I'm gonna tell you that's not right. I don't beat her. Oh well, see, well, no, no, no. And that's another thing, women. That's another thing. When you do have your husband's attention, and he really is listening, why do you stop saying what you got to say and say never mind? Okay, this is just food for thought. Okay, you know, I know most people have cabin fever, and I'm quite sure some marriages has been just peachy keen and perfect. But those of us that got a little real side on us is like, I kill this nigga if he keep on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so like, ooh, we need some space. We need some something. Come on, lift this curfew, lift this quarantine, and blah, blah, blah. So, it just is what it is. I just want y'all to know everybody goes through something. I don't care how perfect you feel like, a person's relationship is. There is no perfect relationships because there is no perfect people. Okay? You may get along really well, or you may, spend whatever time that you have with each other, whatever, without no issues. But trust me, let me tell you something. If something goes very, very smooth all the time, somebody lying. Somebody is lying. Okay? Somebody's not being truthful. And a lot of times it's because one of the parties can't take honesty, so it makes the other party keep their mouth closed about what they truly feel. And they just go along to get along. That's only going to last for so long because just like pipes, pressure busts. When you keep a lot of stuff in you, that pressure builds up. It's just like a pipe. When that pressure builds up, it bursts. That's exactly what happens with an individual. If they cannot be open and honest, they'll keep it for so long, and it's gonna come out one or two ways. Okay, are you ready? It's gonna come out in an argument, like you didn't put the can you didn't put the Miracle Whip back in the refrigerator. Well, I'll put it back in the refrigerator. You always do. That's how it's gonna come out. Or two, they're not gonna care no more, and they're gonna let you do you, and they're gonna find somebody else on the side. And then when you find out about it, then you'll realize, well, all along they've been telling me. But then you'll flip it and be like, I can't believe you went outside the marriage. Well, I mean, which way is it? You can't shut somebody down because you can't take what the truth is or what they have to say and expect it to be okay. No, you're fine, but maybe your spouse ain't because they can't verbalize to you somebody that they should be able to verbalize to. They can't verbalize to you what they really see and feel in their heart because you can't take it. I mean, that's not their fault that you don't know how to accept the truth or you can't process the truth. So it comes out, I'm telling you, it comes out one or two ways. If y'all never heard nothing else Coco say, listen to this. That's going to come out one or two ways. One, it's either going to come out in an argument with something as simple as toilet paper. You see a lot of people say, we split up because I didn't put the toilet paper on the roll. That's not why you split up. That's what opened up Pandora's box. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah, the little feather that fell down real slow and cracked the egg. That's what that was. Okay, it was already fragile. So it's going to come out in an argument, and that argument is going to be one heck of an argument because everything that person's been holding in comes out because you forgot to change toilet paper roll. Let that sink in. When healthy dialogue is, healthy dialogue is, I don't see how you feel that way. Well, let me tell you how I feel that way. Well, I don't see it that way. Well, okay, you don't see it that way, but it don't make my feelings less valid either. But at least you're dialoguing, or, you know, uh, say a husband say, let's talk. I feel like you're growing away from me. Let's talk. What's going on? Sometimes me and you will have to wear your big drawers, your big boxers, and learn how to sit and be like, all right, what's going on? Even if you don't like what your spouse got to say, you still have to be able to listen. Let me tell you something. I'm going to take it biblical, okay? Biblical wise, God took the rib of Adam and made Eve, okay? That means he assigned Eve to Adam for Adam to protect Eve, okay? Hence the rib up under him, okay? All right. God gave Adam the instructions of the Garden of Eden. You can eat of this, but not of this. He gave that to Adam. If you don't believe me, go back and read Genesis, okay? I know a lot of preachers like to spin it, but he gave them instructions to Adam. And when he gave them to Adam, guess what? Eve wasn't even created. Let that sink in. Okay? So y'all can stop lying on Eve because it wasn't Eve. She wasn't even created yet. Okay? Okay. Now, here we go. The serpent, which is all type of temptation, all type of manipulation. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied. That's what the serpent represents, okay? The serpent went to meet Eve, where Eve was, and talked to Eve. In other words, things began to get Eve's attention. Oh, yeah, I'm going to break this down today. Things begin to get Eve's attention, okay? Begin to tell her she was missing out on some stuff. Now, he told Eve, the serpent, nothing's going to happen to you. Here, let me be the one there for you. Let me be the one who gives you what you need. Here, trust me, okay? So Eve bit the forbidden fruit. Nothing happened, right? Right. Okay? Nothing we saw happen. And that's what happens when temptations, manipulations come to a wife that is unattended, a wife that is not kept. Okay? Things come in that's attractive to the eye, that ministers to the thing that's left empty. Okay? And visibly, nothing happens. Like, you know, nothing changes on the outside. She don't grow an extra eye. Nothing like that. Everything transfers and takes place inwardly. I hope y'all getting this. Okay? All right. Now, here's the thing. The whole time that this manipulation is going on, her husband stood there and watched. Stood there, didn't do anything, didn't say stop, didn't whoop the serpent, didn't attack the serpent, didn't speak to the serpent, nothing. Stood there and watched somebody manipulate his wife that God gave him to protect. Stood there with her. And then not only was she manipulated, she gave him what the manipulator gave her. And only when he ate did everything become visible. Okay, so only when he fell, okay? Because remember, when she took the bite, nothing happened. Outwardly. It was happened inwardly. When she started to change inwardly, she handed it to her husband, the one that God gave the rules to, the one that God spoke to and said, do not eat of this tree. He bit it anyway. You see how this is working when you don't stand in who you are as a man and you leave your spouse unattended? The whole family goes down. So when he ate it, the manifestation of everything that went wrong and was wrong and that had happened showed up. It showed up immediately. Now, my thing was, you knew God told you, by you being the head, he gave you this woman to protect and to make her your helpmeet. This is to help meet you in the needs where you couldn't do it all yourself, okay? So you knew that God gave you her, but you knew God gave you the commandment because she wasn't available, Okay? He hadn't created her yet. And you still did not stand in the authority that God made you, and you followed suit. And you went on in and did wrong too. And now you mad because the promises and the paradise that God gave you and promised you, you no longer have. And then when God asked you, who told you you were naked? Or why did you do X, Y, and Z? You tried to say it was the woman you gave me. And then do that. Come on, y'all. How many times does men say, it's her fault? Really? I don't let no man off. If you a man, be a man. If you a mouse, be a mouse. Come on, pick you this day your struggle. Which one you gonna be? Because you can't be both. There's a whole lot of people that's running around that are males, but they're not men. Males mean you were born with a penis. You're a male. We'll give you that. But the man is a state of mind and heart. So he stood there, watched everything transpire, did not speak up, did not govern her, did not protect her, just stood there. And then he followed suit himself when he knew what was going on was wrong. And there was a repercussion to pay for it because the man did not stand in his God-given authority and take authority over the situation. So if this stuff happened in biblical days, why don't y'all think it'll happen now? So I just wanted to break it down. A lot of times we stick our head in the sand. We can't afford to do that, especially not in this day and time. When you see the beast coming, address it, cut the head off of it, and slay it. And not necessarily in that order. It's a lot of women that are being married. There's a lot of women in marriages where they're the husband and the wife. Make that make sense. So I'm just seeing through this quarantine time, God is revealing. I don't know how I switch this, but go on, God. God is revealing the true intentions of your heart, the true intentions of your mind. He's actually ripping the Band-Aid off stuff that people thought was, oh, we're okay. We got this superficial Band-Aid on and nobody wants to address the elephant in the room. God is like, While y'all stuck together, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to heal you, but you got to be honest. I'm going to bring you up, but you got to be honest. You got to tell the truth. You got to see what's in there because the same stuff that was there 5 years ago, you didn't deal with it then. So now it's festering, and I'm trying to save it before it blows up in your face. Because remember, he sees what we don't. He know I shall be. So that's all I came to say. Is during this quarantine time, a whole lot of things is being revealed, and we can't afford to stick our head in the sand. We can't afford to act like we don't see it. Who does that but a fool? Remember, don't be Adam in that situation. Adam seen everything go down and then partook of the foolishness, and he paid the ultimate cost. So all you men and some women that keep blaming Eve for that, she had her part, but the commandment was never given to her. It was given to him. She could have ate all day long. Nothing would have happened. God talked to the head, which was the man. And even when Eve ate, he didn't have to eat. He could have said, no, if he was going to let her, let's just go. Because my thoughts is, first of all, why wasn't you there? I mean, you were standing right there. Why you allow some other man to talk to your wife? To say stuff to her that drew her to him, and you standing right there. Second of all, you seen he was feeding her some incorrect information that was gonna mess her up eventually. Why wouldn't you stop that? Third of all, if you knew and you did know that you wasn't supposed to be a part of it, why would you join in with somebody already out there to destroy your marriage, to destroy your wife, to take everything that was promised to you? Why did you become a part of that? See, those are questions. Anyway, I just came on here to say this, but I'm telling y'all, too much is given, much is required, and we have to make sure that we're being totally honest And my thing is, I always ask God, am I being too honest? Because sometimes y'all think when I speak on here that I'm like, I'm 10 times worse out for her. I've always been an honest person. I've always said what I had to say. When I tried to hold back, I got sick. I got so sick I almost died twice last year because I was trying to hold stuff in from different people and not, hold stuff in to help everybody else's, you know, uh, help everybody else keep the peace, and I didn't want to rock the boat. Now, needless to say, everybody else was coming for me full force. But I was trying to hold the peace and, oh, no, I'm not going to let this, oh, shh. Yeah, okay. Not I said, a little plus size woman. Mm-mm. Try me. So, all right, you guys. I just wanted to come on here and encourage some marriages and break some stuff down. We can do better. We can be better. We have to. We have to. Because you know what? What's the sense of saying, I heard people saying, I've been married 25 years, I've been married 30 years, blah, blah, blah. What's the sense of saying you've been married all them years if it ain't no better? I would rather take my chances and start over somewhere than to keep going through the okey doke. And that's just me. A lot of times we hold on to stuff that God Himself is trying to get us from. For real. So, I keep telling y'all, I'm a wife. No matter what, I'll be a wife. And that's the truth. That's not all I am, but that I am a wife. All right, boo-boos. I hope y'all get something from this. Just remember, this didn't start just here. This started at the garden. This started with Adam and Eve. Trust me. But God gave us knowledge and understanding on how to rewrite and restart again. Okay? All right, this is Coco929. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Smooches.